Lock the door. Turn out the lights. Pretend it's just a nightmare. The most intense survival game ever created. Now for Nintendo 64.
Welcome to Remember 64, where this week we squeeze zombies into an N64 cartridge. Hello everyone, I'm David Petrangelo, and wait, what happened here? Why aren't there any raccoons in this raccoon city? Yeah, that's just a somewhat vague quip to our level 18 game, Resident Evil 2. To get things started, it's just myself this week. I have a couple of guests coming up in just a moment. Just wanted to mention that patreon.com/remember64show. You can get episodes like this days early. You can hear other things that we've been playing, and you can help us shape what's coming up next in the show, all for just $1 a month. And if you don't want to put any coin down, or you can't, which is no problem whatsoever, rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Spotify, Apple, all the goods. We're all out there. You can find us across the board, and always much appreciated. Let us know what you think. Now, we're going to bust out the history books with a couple of guests that I've had on the show before. If you're listening to this in late 2022, you've heard both of these voices on a couple of episodes earlier this year. They're a whole lot of fun. They know their stuff. And we're going to get right into it. Let's talk about Resident Evil 2 on the Nintendo 64.
I'm finally here.
Guy's a maniac. Why'd he bite me?
All right, so now we are just going to head straight into talking about the game. There's tons of stuff to talk about with Resident Evil 2, and thankfully, you don't have to just hear me talking about it. Oh, that's right. We have some special guests this time. That's right. We have returning guests, 2 returning guests. And I'm going to start with Mr. Nave from the Gaming Together podcast. Sir, welcome back.
Hold your fire! I'm human! Thought we were supposed to do a joke at the beginning, but I forgot.
No, and I didn't cue you up properly too, so it's also on me. I'm a great host, guys. This is going swimmingly already. Thanks for coming back, man. We had you. We spoke and did an episode earlier in 2022 with Turok, and that was a blast. That was
yes.
So great. And just had to have you back for another sort of horror type game with some shooting and some action. And I was like, all right, you said yes, and I'm like, this is perfect. Let's just dive right in. This is awesome. But sir, we are also joined by Bill from the Gaming and Collecting podcast as well. Bill, welcome back, man.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. Thanks
for having me again.
You were the very first guest of Remember 64. If people look back at level 2, the very first. And I will say that both the episodes that we have done in the past have been smashing successes, gentlemen. So thank you.
Thank you. That's great.
It was definitely Turok. It wasn't me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Turok is good.
Yeah, it's great.
I love that the second episode of Remember 64 was like the one where we didn't talk about the N64.
I think we touched on it like 10 minutes in or something, and it was just about everything else, which is great, which is awesome. I needed to have the expert on for collecting and gaming and everything, and you were the guy to go to, so it was perfect. Now, Bill, I guess I'll go to you first. What's your experience with Resident Evil 2? Whether it is PlayStation, N64, the remake, the series, like what's your experience here? What do we got?
So, I have an odd history with Resident Evil. Obviously, I was probably too young for it when it first appeared, so I kind of missed out on the original Resident Evil at first. But I did have somehow I got my hands on a copy of Resident Evil 2 at like the ripe old age of This game came out 99, I want to say.
Yeah, the 64 one was 99, so yeah.
99, 98-ish.
Yeah.
So I was around 3 to 4, but somehow had a wonderful copy of Resident Evil 2. And
that sweet target audience stuff.
It's what they were going for
Yeah.
all along.
And I played the PlayStation. I think the PlayStation version was the original version.
Yeah, yeah.
And I struggled with it because I had first experience with a game that wasn't a platformer or an RPG, so I had to learn tank controls and like all that fun exploration and the whole concept of you're not supposed to kill everything. You have to like sometimes think about your what you're gonna do for this this wonderful journey that you're.
I'll tell you
ending
right
up
now,
on.
not killing everything was really hard. Not wanting to just terrorize absolutely everything was really difficult to do. That's what I wanted to do every single time.
Yeah.
All the time. I just wanted to get rid of everything that was in front of me, especially off the bat. But we'll talk about that. So this was, so like you said, you're a little bit too late to the party for the first one because of age. I'm in the same boat. I think it's just that around that timing. So was 2 something that you played when you were younger, or was it something that eventually you picked up like later on?
I can say I played it.
Ah.
Did I beat it? That is the question. The different question.
That's a whole other situation. That's a whole other discussion, right?
Yeah. I also lost my original copy of the game at some point, like just as games tend to disappear when you're a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up losing it for a long period of time, and I eventually reacquired it where I finally sat down and like played through it. I ended up playing the Dreamcast version at one point as well, because I borrowed it from a friend who had it after I got my Dreamcast. And I played the N64 version on and off, but the version that I have the most familiarity with is probably the PlayStation original.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil, the first couple especially, I think that's what people think of as PlayStation, honestly. Like I not gonna lie, I don't know that I knew that this game was on the 64. Whoop. Coming from the guy who has an N64 show, and I had pretty much no idea that this existed on this console. So, Nave, what about you, man? What's your experience with the series and this title specifically?
Well, this is the first one that I played, and it was on the Nintendo 64, and I had almost no experience with the PlayStation at all. So I specifically, the main memory that I have is I remember taking this to one of my friend's house. His name was Elvis, and he had a bunch of younger brothers, and I played this game, and there's a very seminal jump scare in this game involving a two-way mirror, and one of his little brothers, the youngest one, actually pissed his pants. It was so scary.
Actually
traumatizing.
pissed his pants.
Yeah, so there's many levels of trauma now stacking up onto that two-way mirror scene for him, I imagine.
Incredible.
What's funny is you actually had said that you have no real experience with the PlayStation version. That's the fun part about the N64 version. There really isn't much of a difference.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like everything I kept looking at, like that's the biggest thing. We'll get into like the gameplay itself of the game, but like this version of RE2 is like this technical marvel that
it shouldn't exist.
There's
but
no,
it does.
I do not understand how they could have, like the multiple things I looked up. The Angel Studios, which made games like the King Griffey Jr. games, which are awesome for the 64. Like they ported this over. They had $1 million to work with, which at the time I think was a decent amount of money. But really, considering how many people need to port these games over and do all this technical work in it, it's really not that much money. And they had to squeeze multiple gigs of data onto 64 onto this cartridge. I don't look. I'm not a math guy. I'm not a numbers guy, but I know that 64 bits is less than a gig or less than 4 gigs that this game was. Like, I just don't understand how they could possibly do it. It's crazy.
and
Squeezed it really hard.
Every single full motion video cutscene.
Yeah,
mind you.
Right. Exactly. So, I looked up a couple notes about what they did. Is they skipped every other frame in the videos when they put it onto the cartridge when they were making it. And then they used technology. I don't have the name exactly of what they used, but then they used technology to sort of fill in the gaps. So you could see the video is not quite as smooth, probably is what you're going to get off the PlayStation. But
yeah,
the fact that they thought of that to just cut down size, they literally cut down the size in half because they skipped frames. I find that insanely cool, honestly.
Well, it's funny because one interesting fact about the PlayStation version is, despite the game being a double disc game, it actually came out later on that the game could have all fit on one disc, but
Oh,
they split it in half for a certain game mechanic that we'll probably get into later.
oh, see that I didn't know.
History.
Yeah. So
Intrigue.
the game, I find that this was my second experience with Resident Evil, but I also didn't get to the first one until probably 2001. Like it was quite a while. I only had one friend that had a PlayStation, and I think we spent most of our time playing games like Marvel vs. Capcom. Like honestly, that's what we used it for. And Gran Turismo. Like those were the games that we played on that. And then yeah, I had a 64. A couple friends had 64s, and that was pretty much it. But this one I played most recently as the remake. I got it a year after it came out, and I had a hernia surgery, and they said you need to be on the couch or in bed for a minimum 5 to 7 days and don't do anything strenuous. And I go, you know what? There's a sale right now for this game, and I hear it's really good. I'm going to play it. And that's what I did. And that's how I played this game.
Don't do anything strenuous that could possibly cause you to jump involuntarily suddenly at scary sounds and motions on the TV.
I 100%. You know what? I guess I just didn't react enough to it, even though it's a fairly thrilling and can be scary game, especially the newest version. But it was kind of fun because I did complete that, and I completed both sides of the story, and it's so good. If even if you don't have experience playing a Resident Evil game, playing that remake is excellent. I recommend it to almost anybody, like anyone that wants a thriller type game that isn't necessarily a horror game. You know, you're not really like walking through scary hallways just for a jump scare. Like sure, those pop up, but there's a story here. There's good gameplay here. It looks amazing, like all that stuff. So I'd recommend it. But as I was playing this version, the N64 version, I kept comparing notes and how similar and in some ways different it is, but it's far more similar than I thought it was. Like it really is not a huge difference from what the 2019 remake was, which I was very impressed. I was impressed that 25 years prior, that the N64 version was so similar to the one that was newer, like it kind of in reverse, I thought.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool to kind of compare the differences. I thought it was pretty fun. Have you guys played the new one at all? The remake?
I played the remake the second it came out, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I prefer the older style Resident Evil games personally, but I did greatly enjoy the updated design that they went with for the remake.
Well, yeah, and that's what it is, right? They didn't just like, slap a new coat of paint on it. Like they remade it from bottom to top, and I think that it shows. It does play different. I prefer the way that the new stuff plays. That's fair. The tank controls, I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you, Nave. I don't know. You started with this version, the N64. You've been playing this since you were younger. Like, are the tank controls your thing, or am I off and thinking that it's just not for me?
Honestly, the only Resident Evil I can stand with tank controls is this one in particular, because I have such a soft spot for the game, and I'm so used to it.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the N64 version allows you to turn off the tank controls.
Yeah, but it's not good. You don't want to do that.
True. It's still an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Might be why I'm like, okay, the tank controls are fine, actually, because I probably did turn it off and it was like, oh no. Every time you change cameras, you whip back around and start running the wrong way and then die.
Yeah, that's the issue with it, right? It's like there's this like give and take for it. It's yeah, I guess that's true. The way that the game is built, it's meant to be that way. You pretty much do have to remake it like they did with the newer one in order for it to work a different way. So yeah, it's I don't know, like when the game starts. First of all, let's get into sort of like we were talking a little bit about the video and stuff like that, but like the opening scenes, like the cut scenes and stuff, are just so funny.
See that's the reason I prefer classic Resident Evil. I love how stupid it is.
It's so ridiculously corny. It's just like, oh, check the glove box. There's a gun in there. Like, just thanks, Tips. Like, it's just the way it's read.
Hey, Could you open the glove box?
Sure. There's a gun inside.
Better take it with you.
Oh my god, I know it's voiceover work from like the mid to late 90s. I know it's just not like a thing that we were really doing. You know, they're probably not top-notch actors. Okay, fine. It is what it is, but I just find it hilarious. The delivery is just ridiculous.
It's great because it actually is like 100% a step up from Resident Evil 1.
Oh, Resident Evil 1's bad. That is bad. Yeah.
No, Resident Evil 1's great in the worst way possible.
I think I like. There's a reason I led in with that. Hold your fire. I'm human. I always think about it. Like I think I'll get shot at in a video game. I'm just like, hold your fire. I'm human.
See, that's like my one issue with like anytime like Claire shows up in anything is I'm just so used to Alison Court's like performance that I'm like, this just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It's not even just like its corny delivery, but the first like really like cringeworthy thing. I played through this version as Claire. I did Claire's thing. I didn't do both. I didn't, get to. I just couldn't. I think I would have just smacked my head against the wall if I just had to play this twice within a couple weeks. Not that I hate the game, but it would have just been too much. She walks into that I don't know, gun store or whatever it is, the first store you walk into, and he's just like, don't worry, darling, I'll help you, miss. Don't worry. And he's like touching her shoulder and stuff. And I was like, oh god, oh no. And then he dies, and I'm like, okay, well that's fine. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
There was also the character development he went through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The poor guy, man. Oh, he changed so much.
Well, it's like you can also just like that intro is such a product of its time too. You got like the Harley Davidson.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah.
Claire's like biker short outfit. It's like there's a reason why they changed this for the remake.
Yeah.
I see.
And it's what's face's first day on the job, because of course it is. Like it has to be. If it was his second day on the job, it wouldn't be the same. Like, I mean, day 2 of the job, there'd be no zombies. It has to happen on day 1. And that's it. So
Exactly.
Did you guys pick did you pick one character or the other, or did you test out both, or?
So that's where this game actually is really interesting.
Yeah.
So for the PlayStation, I don't know if the N64 does this the same way. It must. But so there's 2 discs for the PlayStation version. One is the Leon disc and the second disc is the Claire disc.
Right.
And the reason why they split it up this way is because there's actually a game mechanic that a lot of people don't realize at first. Depending on which character you play as first, it greatly changes things in the second playthrough that you do with the other characters. So, like, say you play Claire first, then you're playing the Claire A scenario.
Right.
When you move on to Leon, you're playing Leon's B scenario.
Right.
But if you play as Leon first, you'll play Leon A. And then if you play as Claire, you play Claire B. So it changes the game up significantly. Like, items are different, like certain things line up differently. It's a cool mechanic, and it makes a lot of sense why they split the discs up, even though they probably could have done it on one disc.
Yeah. But if it's that experience of putting a different disc in. I just
literally, that doesn't translate to Final Fantasy, the modern ports to them. And every time I'm like, this is where you change the disc, but that doesn't even say. I wish it would just pop up and you just hit A, and then it's like, just so I can be like, I remember.
Well, that's why we get great jokes like in Metal Gear Solid 4 where Otacon calls you in the middle of the game to tell you to change the disc and then goes, oh wait, this is a PlayStation 3 game, sorry. It just goes away.
That's amazing.
It's like one of the that game breaks the fourth wall so much, but that's besides
That's a great little meta commentary there. I love that. That's amazing. I went as Claire because I was like, that's the order I did. I played the remake in. So I was like, sure, I'll just play this version.
Did you ever play the original? Did you ever play Scenario B on either of them? The original game?
I personally have not. No. Have you?
Oh, wow. Well, maybe you should have, because whenever you were like, I don't want to play the game second time. The Scenario B, you kind of come in from a different angle of the police station. You enter a different way, and you do multiple things. And whenever you do the things, you'll be like, oh, this is why there's a bunch of zombies in here. Whenever I came through last time.
Oh, I see.
There's things where there's like there's a chance where you get a choice of like, I think a gun or a pouch. And if you take the pouch in Scenario A, then in Scenario B the gun is there. And like there's a spot like way late in the game where you're fighting like plant zombies, and you can make them easier to kill in scenario A by poisoning them, but then in scenario B they're stronger and they inflict poison. Like there's a lot of like tiny little things
Whoa.
like that throughout the whole game.
Now that you guys say that, you guys both mentioned the playing it multiple times and stuff. It rings a bell, but I didn't realize it got into that kind of stuff more specifically. That's very interesting. I just don't think I ever had the time, and I don't think I never owned the game. So it's always, one of those like you got to go to someone's house and play it, and there's, like I said, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 staring us in the face, and we have two people sitting in front of a TV. So, Iron Man and Spider-Man are going to, and Ryu are going to fight each other. So, that's awesome. That's crazy cool.
It's something that the remake also tries to do. It doesn't do it to the same amount, but there is a little bit of it there.
I was playing the remake going, oh, well, that's great that they've introduced that. That's what I thought as I played that game. It's like, oh, that's a cool, because now they're capable of doing that. But clearly, even in the 90s like this, like even 25, 30 years ago, the fact that they had that capability and that idea and that system, like that's awesome. That's very impressive to me. Even more,
it was basically, sorry.
No, it's just like the fact that all of this on top of all the technical stuff that they did to put this game on the 64 is just, they could have like left that part of this game out. You know what I mean? But they made sure that everything was in there on top of, customizing things, quote unquote, customizing things when you start the game. So my question is, what color blood did you guys play with? That's what I want to know.
Had to go with red.
Ooh, okay.
I played with green for a little bit, and I was like, no, I feel like I undid the Mortal Kombat Nintendo 64 blood code or whatever. I can't do that.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot this was a thing.
Yeah, well, it asked me, and I was like, wait, what? Oh, okay, sure, yeah. I initially left it as red, and then I played the first, 10, 15 minutes, something like that. And then I realized that, and I think I was trying to kill too many of the zombies at the beginning, and was getting my butt kicked, clearly, because I think that's the point, especially right off the bat. Which, by the way, it takes way too many pistol shots to kill these things. But when they die, a confirmed kill, so to speak, is you see the blood on the ground underneath them. And sometimes the red I couldn't see, so I started over and I chose green so that I could see and know if they were dead. That was like my little like mini cheat code.
Gotta do what you gotta do out here.
That's it, man.
I mean, survival horror.
Yeah, change. Go ahead.
I was gonna say changing it to green just makes the game even more goofy. So
it does. Yeah, I don't know what the blue looks like. I think it's like a little bit of an in between brightness of the red and the green, but I just needed something different than the dark brown and black floors that were like a little bit brighter than that. I was at first, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't played this version of this game in 20 years. At first, I was struggling. I was like, oh my God, like really? Oh, I'm dead already. Really? Like the first 20 minutes, half an hour, like before you really get settled in the police station, I was just like, is this really what this game is? I don't remember it being this. I don't remember being like this. This is rough. I hope I can get past these parts. But then once you go through the first couple spots of the police station, you kind of get your groove, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
But it took me a while. It took me a while, and I was ready to say screw this game and just play the first half hour. But I pushed through. I pushed through.
Tank controls are very like, they're such an archaic design, and like they take forever. You eventually get used to them, but they're never like good. Like that's how I've always seen it.
That's it. That's exactly it. I don't think it's ever great, but it's you get the hang of it, I think is what it is. You get the hang of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a necessary evil for like how beautiful this game looks with all the pre-rendered backgrounds, and that's obviously there's no way they could have possibly done that if there wasn't like fixed camera angles to reduce the amount of like work they had to do overall.
Yeah.
But on top of that, like just the fact that they had these pre-rendered backgrounds and fixed camera angles like leads to some of the best scares in like survival horror because of how cinematic and like how well placed some of these camera angles are.
Yep.
And I like specifically want to point out one of the first like interactions, one of the first kind of scares you get, which is the liquor climbing across the first window that you walk past.
Oh yeah. You know a scare that gets me the most with pre-rendered backgrounds? Whenever something comes from like your point of view, like and then walks onto screen, like from like the fourth wall, that always like gets me like nothing. I'm like, whoa, where did he come from?
Whoa, hey, whoa.
Oh, it's because it's this weird like I'm gonna say Pavlovian. That's not right. But like you see, it's like you are playing as that character who is looking in that direction, but somehow you don't have the information that the enemy is walking towards them.
Yeah.
So like it's like multiple layers of like deception that goes through your brain. Like that, it's startling for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is with with the early Resident Evil games, like tank control stuff. Regardless, whether it's this one or a different one, is that part of the scare, part of the thrill, part of the difficulty, I would say, is the way it controls, the way the camera is always fixed. Like all of that stuff adds to it. But after, like, aside from those first few minutes, like I mentioned a little while ago, like I think you don't really feel like you're being ripped off or cheated or any of that kind of stuff. Every once in a while, I feel like some rooms have like a little too many zombies. And I was just like, I only have a pistol and these things take 50 shots. Like, I don't know, what I'm supposed to do here. Other than that, I think once you sort of start collecting items and things, you sort of feel okay. But yeah, I think that's part of it, honestly. Like, I think part of it is just the fact that like you can only do so much because you can only stand in one spot and pull a trigger. Like, it's just like that alone. And the fact that like the camera might be on top of you, might be beside you, might be through a window. Like, but it's cinematic, which is great, which I like, that's always fun.
The soundtrack is one of the greatest parts of like this game.
It's so good. So like atmospheric and stuff too. That's again, another thing that they found a way to put onto this cartridge. I do not understand it.
And not make it sound like crushed and like get compressed to crap too, which was amazing.
I think it's kind of funny that you bring up the soundtrack because almost every single one of my favorite moments in this game, as far as the sound design is concerned, is when there is nothing playing.
Oh,
when it is just dead silent and you hear someone moaning or you hear tap, 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 and you're just like, what the hell is in this room? I can't see. Or like, specifically like that liquor scare, there's no sound. Like the two-way mirror, there's no sound. And that's the worst part is because when you go into that room, the hallway that you came from, bunch of ambient noise.
Yep.
When you enter this room with this two-way mirror that you've never seen in the whole police station, this is the first time you've seen that, you're like, that's novel. And then there's no sound, so you take the first step and it's like and you're like, oh my god, it is so loud in here.
Yeah.
Like the silence is so loud. Something bad is going to happen to me.
It's just too quiet, man. It's way too quiet. That's true.
See, when I think
really like shiny thing on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And so it's like I gotta go get that and run back.
So when I think of like the soundtrack in particular, I think of like the moments like when you're exploring like quiet areas of the game and like you're reading like all the different like data files and like text and stuff. And it's like the music is really like eerie at times when you're reading these, especially like when you're in the police station and you're actually learning about our good friend Brian Irons and the horrible human being he is. And you're like, oh my, like this is scary. Like I don't want to be here.
Yeah, and there's a lot going. You get the background of the stories of some of the people, what was happening just before or as this stuff was breaking out. Like all of that is, yeah, you're right. And there's sort of like this moody music playing in the background, and like it could be a very simple, like those moments can be silent too. That's fine. That happens in multiple games all the time, and in this one, it's not like there's always music playing, but reading certain things at a certain time when a music cue comes up, it adds to it. It definitely like makes a difference. But even when there is or isn't music playing, the sound design in this game is largely pretty good, I would say, when you're playing it. It's the small like little things that I notice in older games like this where I go, oh, they did that in 98 or 99 or in 97, like whatever year a game came out. The fact that when you walk on glass, it sounds different, or when you walk on a piece of metal, it sounds different. Like I just assume, without ever paying attention to this stuff when I was younger, that you're just always walking on the same surface. It just sounds like boot footsteps or whatever. And it's just those little things. I was just like, oh, little touches, and that's all part of the atmosphere, I think, of the game, which is, I think, the biggest part. Like to me, the game is more of like an atmosphere experience than it is about like the greatest gameplay you can get out of a Resident Evil game. But I don't know if you guys feel like the gameplay is what stands out, or if it's something else. But to me, it's always more atmosphere, especially in the early ones, because tank controls.
Yeah. Honestly, to me, what always made 2 stick out the most out of all the classics was it was the story. Like 2's story is so like memorable.
Yeah.
Especially compared to the first game, which was more generic.
Haunted house.
Yeah.
My position's kind of like in the middle, like just a hybrid of both of those, because it's not really particularly the story or particularly the atmosphere. It's mostly like the game design itself. The game loop is incredible.
Yes.
For me. Like the police mansion, the police whatever it's called.
No, it's the police
station.
mansion. That's what it is.
Essentially.
Let's not like deny that it's a police mansion.
Yeah.
The police station, it's so huge and daunting at first, and then the more you kind of learn about it, the smaller it seems to get. Like you get these actual Dark Souls shortcuts around all these different like locations where you're unlocking doors from the behind, or you're knocking down ladders to get to previous save points and stuff like that. And like you get such a intimate knowledge of this place that it kind of becomes like second nature, just wandering around in these places. Like you know where zombies probably are, you start kind of bobbing and weaving, and you get into this weird flow state in this game that's supposed to be putting you on edge. And whenever you get on that flow state, that's when a dog jumps through the window and takes you off your seat.
Well, one of my favorite aspects is like you'll be walking through like the museum, police museum basically, and you'll be like, why the hell is this place laid out like this? Like this makes no sense at all. And then you read like the little like data logs, and it's like, oh, Brian Irons did this deliberately just to make it harder for them to escape.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's so many like all those, and then there's like funny little like puzzle elements in a police station for some reason. Like why is there a big fountain or statue or something straight up front that has like a medallion you have to find? Like what's with that? Like why is that in there? And then but it's part of the, like you guys are saying, it's part of the whole appeal of being in this area. And I think you're right, Nave. I never actually even really thought of it as I was playing it. You do recognize where you're going and what you're doing in this place, even though like, especially compared to when you first start, because it is pretty overwhelming at first, because you're not sure what you need to get into that door, or how you would need to find the item that you need for that. Like, oh, this needs a skull key or whatever they are. Where the hell am I supposed to get that? And then when you find it, you go, oh, even without taking notes, even without an elaborate map system necessarily, like, okay, I got to make my way back here. I got to go over this way. Probably going to find a couple of zombies in that way. There might be a jump scare here. It's too silent. Now I'm going to poop myself because it's kind of getting scary, like all these things sort of go. But you're right. Actually, that's something I never thought of as I was playing this, but it is 100% true.
It says a lot how this game was remade, because this game is so beloved by like fans of the series that like they had wanted a remake for years, and then when it finally came out, people were like, this is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, it's excellent. I mean, I heard Resident Evil 3 remake is still pretty good too. But there's something about this one that apparently for people that have much more experience with them and whatever, that it just sort of stands out even more.
The problem with the Resident Evil 3 remake was that it was really short, but a lot of people forgot that. A lot of people forget Resident Evil 3 itself was really short.
Oh, okay. Well, and you know what? Resident Evil 2, like this game, Resident Evil 2 is not a short game. There's a lot going on here. And again, even if there was only one character to play through, like I played through one side of this game, essentially, like side A or side B. And it still took me a while. Like, this is not a nothing title. This game's a marvel on this console. Like, it's just insane. I can't believe that it happened in any way whatsoever. It's insane.
What's crazy too is that Angel Studios was the studios behind it, and they're nowadays Rockstar San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah. Which
the Red Dead team.
Right, they're the Red Dead guys. Yeah, they're the Red Dead team, which is, I mean, same people, whatever. So either way, that's what this studio ended up being. But yeah. So the last sort of annoyance I have with this game, but it also is a game it's also just a Resident Evil thing, and it's not going to be a unique take. But man, the inventory. Oh my God, the inventory. I hate it. I hate it so much. I can't stand that I can only fit a couple of herbs and a couple of bullets. Like I just, oh, it's brutal. It's brutal. Like
Thing it definitely puts you in an interesting scenario where you have to like learn to prepare for things that you have no idea that are coming. Like you have to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
able to kind of foresee, am I about to get into a big fight, or I've got to trek to the other side of the base. Are there any more item boxes in between? How many healing items can I have? Did I clear these rooms? You have so many like different tactical decisions that makes everyone's playthrough so unique to their own.
Mm-hmm.
The most part, but it's like you have all of these decisions that you learn, and once you fail a couple of times and you learn how to problem solve, and God forbid, please save in different
Oh
locations.
my
Don't
God.
save all in
Oh
one
my
spot.
God.
We were talking
This
about
is the
gripes.
game. This is the game that beat that into me.
Never mind. Inventory is not my last thing. It's the save system.
I never
But,
thought I'd praise Alone in the Dark for something over Resident Evil 2, but my God, Alone in the Dark at least lets you save anywhere.
It's not even that it's you can't have a quick save or whatever, which okay, didn't happen too often, especially on a console like the 64. Like that was much more common on PlayStation, obviously GameCube, Dreamcast, like those types of consoles that happened far more often and was just normal at that time. Fine, put the typewriters wherever you put them, but why do I need ink specifically?
ribbon.
That part of it loops into the inventory because then
Yep.
I need to drop
That's a
something.
slot.
Yeah, it's a slot, and I absolutely hate that part. Is that like I went a couple times and I risked it. It's my fault. I did that. Like you're just saying, Nave. I made that decision of how I'm going to approach it, and I wasn't careful enough, and then I had to play half an hour of the game over again, and that half an hour was probably the worst half hour that I played because it was like I just did this and I didn't do it as efficiently as I did even the first time, even though I knew what was coming because I don't know, my hands got sweaty and then my thumb slipped. I don't know what happened, but it just all of that stuff. It's just
See, we've been spoiled by like the greatness that is Resident Evil 4's inventory system, and it's like the most realistic, like I guess you could think of idea for an inventory system in a survival horror game.
Sure.
So when you go back to like the grid and like you only have this many spaces, it's like this sucks.
Yeah, like I know that's a thing in Diablo and games like that. You have a grid and you can only fit so much, but it's just it's stuff like the ink where you really notice it. I think that's the biggest issue, and I understand it's a little bit of a puzzle in its own right. Let me find the medallion for the statue. That's the puzzle I want to play. I don't need to play the inventory one, but survival horror, I guess.
I think definitely it makes you have to make tough decisions, but some of the decisions aren't as tough as they like seem to be on face value. Like you don't know how long you're going to be stuck in the police station for about 3 or 4 hours, but like you don't know how long these ink ribbons need to last you.
Yes.
So usually what everyone does at the end of the game is have like 7 to 10 leftover ink ribbons because they're too scared to save.
Yep.
And so it's usually like if you make like some people who play I don't know, like Quake on the hardest difficulty or something like that with the quick saves, like you kind of get into that zone of like, okay, this is the run. I did really well, and now I'm in a safe spot. I'm just gonna save really quick and then go on, but just like keep replaying that one little section until you do it really efficiently.
Yeah.
This game's too slow for that.
Yeah, no kidding.
But get a small version of that in this type of game, especially if you're someone like me who had like 6 Nintendo 64 games and this was the edgy big boy game, so I wanted to be good at it. So when someone watched me play, it definitely made me desensitized to it, to the point where it's like I'm playing Fatal Frame and I'm like, oh, this is just Time Crisis and I'm no longer scared. So like you kind of get in that zone.
Yeah, that's true. There's a bit of a flow in that way.
actions.
Yeah, that's true. I think I ended up with I had a few ink ribbons, cartridges, whatever you want to call them, in my inventory when I finished the Claire story, and it wasn't a lot. It's not like I was, I was kind of hoarding them. It's true. It was a little bit of a hoarding, but I did fill up the slots for save points so I could go back to whatever I needed to go back to or whatever. Did I use them as often as I thought I would? No, probably not. But I did it anyway because I was scared shitless and just needed to do whatever I could to not replay half-hour segments, 3 times a day, essentially.
And the less you save, the better score you get at the end.
Oh,
If you care about that.
yeah, that's right. I
never did. I was like, whatever.
I mean, really, I just want to survive. Like, honestly, I want to survive. Like, but it is.
You do
but it's
get
cool.
that because I think this game can be like reliably completed in like 2.5, 3 hours. Like if you're really getting good, like getting at it.
Getting good.
And like especially if you start unlocking the things for doing good runs, like
Right.
if you start unlocking the infinite ammo grenade launcher and stuff like that, it's like you can.
Tofu
You
playthrough?
might have had this experience. Oh, the tofu, yeah, tofu and hunk.
Yeah.
But which I'm surprised even made it to the N64 version. But
That
stuff
version is a marvel. It shouldn't exist.
it's great. You get a good taste of it in the remake as well. They kind of harness that energy. That
Mhm.
energy does get pushed forth into like Resident Evil 4 and especially like Resident Evil 8 Village. Like this Village is probably my second favorite Resident Evil game because just how much they touch into that. They really tap into that like lizard brain part of me where I'm like the score gets higher and I get better gun and I get infinite ammo and I go faster. Like I love it.
I always thought 7 was like a modern take on the original, and then 8 was like a modern take on 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's how I saw it.
Well, 7 is kind of a haunted house type of idea, right? Like that's really what it is. 7 scared the poop out of me. I'll tell you that much. I have not played Village, but I continue to hear incredible things about it. It's probably going to be like the remake where I'm just gonna be like, I keep hearing good things. All right, I'm gonna pick it up when it's on sale and I'm gonna play it just like I did with 2 remake. But I don't know if you guys knew that. I have a feeling, Bill, that you might know this, but there is an unreleased Game Boy Advance version of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've seen the tech demo.
Yeah.
It only makes it's literally only the first 3 screens. That's as far as it got.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Basically, it was just from what I've read on that, it was literally a pitch to Capcom to try and get a deal. And I don't know if it was ever intended to actually be the full game or not.
Yeah, so that part I couldn't quite find if that was the case or not either. I mean, I wasn't spending hours and hours trying to figure it out, but I did play this mini prototype thing on there's an emulator out there on archives.org. It's right there. You can play it, and man, the menu is in there. Like it's not like you just start or whatever. The prototype has you start with the menu, has the opening video, and you start right when the truck crashes. There's no opening cutscene, but there is you start in the same place. There's a couple less zombies, it seems like, but you do have to run past them, otherwise you're toast. And all the camera angles are the same. The sound is actually not so bad. And I was like, this was on a Game Boy Advance. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. I don't know if they could have squeezed it on a Game Boy cartridge, but
I doubt it.
But they squeezed this game on an N64 cartridge, 3 years prior. So I don't know, maybe there was a part of it, but I was blown away about the fact that there was any Resident Evil game on a GBA, especially this one.
Ironically, ironically, it is on the Gamecom though. If anyone remembers that thing.
Oh man. Is there anything in particular? Like, is there like a favorite? Like, I know Nave, you mentioned some of the jump scares. You mentioned the 2-sided mirror stuff, like, and the sort of lack of music in some points. Is there like are those a particular like favorite parts of the game, or is it something else that stands out?
I could go on for an hour.
Go, man. Go. That's why we're here.
There's this one scene where you're kind of outside and you kind of go through a area that is very overrun with zombies. And whenever you open the door, I think there's only one other time in all of Resident Evil when something similar to this happens. But when you open the door, a bunch of zombies come through, and it is like one of the most abjectly horrifying things that could possibly happen, because that is such a safe animation. That is the animation where, all right, gonna eat another Cheeto, and then there's a zombie on you already, and it's like it's too late. You've already taken damage, and so, and it's like in like a safe-ish area, like that there's zombies on the other side, and you have to go through there, but
you still kind of feel safe. Yeah,
it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a crazy part for sure. What about you, Bill?
The Birkin fights by far.
Yeah.
just the constant like transformation from like this human like monster to like just a straight up blob at the end.
Yeah, those are pretty sweet. You know what? Like I go deeper and deeper into the game. You have these different types of fights, you have different weapons, and all these things that you run into. But I really appreciated, even though I was struggling with the first few minutes, I appreciated how the game eases you into things, and I think that it's a good pace, and I actually really enjoyed once I got into the police station, the first like hour of the police station. I think, like, I know it's not very specific, but like, that first, I don't know if it's a second, I guess it's technically the second jump scare where like all the arms come jumping through the window. I legitimately swung back and went, ah, shit, like to myself. Like, it was, I don't know why I didn't know that. I knew that was coming. But I guess I just didn't remember exactly when. But you turn the corner and boom. And like, because it got me, that's why that's my favorite part. And it's within that first, that first hour and a half of the game. And I was like, oh, whew, you got me, boys. Yeah, you got me. But it was fun. I thought that was pretty good. I still think that this is, if you got a modern system, you want to play the remake, I think that's the way to go. But I think there's a lot of special things in this game that you can experience with the originals.
Especially the camera angles. I love them.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go on it. I can go on it. Oh god, I love them so much.
It's literally one of the quintessential games of the genre and of this era.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the other thing too about some of the technical stuff too, is apparently what they did was they ended up, the backgrounds are like slightly more pixelated, slightly more blurry when there's more zombies on scene and more action. So like that opening part when you start and there's like 5 zombies in front of you, and then you go to the next screen, the resolution of the background is slightly different because there's less movement. All the small little slash large technical things that they have to do just to fit this on the console is amazing.
Did you know about the video issue it has if you're playing the game with the expansion packs? Expansion pack.
No, I played with an expansion pack. There's an issue with the video?
So I noticed it must not happen everywhere, but I did notice certain versions, like if you play with an expansion pack, like the video resolution like shifts in and out at times, and it makes recording the game a pain in the ass.
I
for, like,
definitely
whatever reason.
noticed a little that a couple times. Towards the middle of the game, I think, is when it happened to me. I don't recall exactly what scene it was. Might have been actually when they sort of bump into each other. It might have been that scene.
It was one of the many things that the expansion pack one of the weird N64 things with the expansion pack where for some reason the N64 is such a weird console when it comes to stuff like this, because it's like certain things don't work with other things, and
it's so strange, man. there's no rhyme. Well, there is rhyme or reason. I get it. They needed to they needed more. They needed to expand the console. I get it, but also like, really. Especially now, I had to go search for an expansion pack. Come on. It was a pain in the butt, and it was not cheap. Like, what the hell, Nintendo?
An expansion pack to play a game that technically didn't even need it.
Technically didn't even need it. But you know what? I think, it's going to come in handy when eventually we get the Donkey Kong 64, for example. Like that, I'm going to need it for that. So,
well, actually, the funny part is technically Donkey Kong 64 didn't need it.
It didn't?
Yeah, that's the two-way mirror jump scare in the fucking video.
Yeah, we're playing a little video in the corner. There it is.
I know that door anywhere. The moment I saw the door, I was like, oh yeah, here it comes.
Yeah, curse you, door.
Not to get too off topic, but so Donkey Kong 64, the reason it needs the expansion pack is there was a game-breaking bug in the code that they couldn't figure out how to fix. But for some reason, the expansion pack mitigated it to the point where you could play the game.
Oh my god!
But
unreal.
Originally, people thought it actually fixed the problem, but years later, we found out it didn't.
Oh,
because the issue was the game would crash like all the time, but the expansion pack, I guess, like stopped it from happening,
or like minimized how many times it could have happened, or something.
So people discovered by playing on the Wii U version, if you were playing with save states on and not actually turning the game off, that would technically, the game would still be running. So eventually you'd get to like a certain amount of hours and the game would just start crashing randomly.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's so crazy.
made that discovery, and it was like apparently expansion pack doesn't actually do anything for that game. It's really funny.
Great. I'm feeling really good about my purchase now. It's great. Yeah.
It's
At least
literally
it looks cool.
Yeah, at least
It's-
it looks cool under the little slot that I haven't with the cover.
I never put the slot back
No,
on. As
maybe
soon
I
as got
should
that
just take it
expansion pass,
off.
That thing was it's going commando on that 64. I don't know if it's good or bad for it.
Well, I
but-
just always found it funny that like games like Resident Evil 2 and Conker's Bad Fur Day don't need the thing, and they look way better than Donkey Kong 64
Yeah.
or Majora's Mask.
Donkey Kong 64 is not a fancy looking game, that's for sure. Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, this game actually, now that you just mentioned it again, it looks impressive. I think that, you know, the video is hit and miss. I think it can be. It's a little bit more blurry looking, I guess, or fuzzy, but like the gameplay itself, I never had a problem figuring out what was going on. Like I feel like because of what they had to do to make this game on the N64, like they easily could have run into problems and let it go, honestly, where like every once in a while it would have been like, okay, fine, they'll just have to deal with it in this room. It's just not going to look as good, or there's too many zombies on screen. You're just going to have to deal with the slowdown. I didn't get any of that stuff. I had a smooth sailing playing this from start to finish. So aside from that really minor video glitch thing that I had, but that didn't bother me. I didn't really care, and it didn't affect the gameplay. So I was like, all right, whatever, it's fine.
Oh, there's our buddy Brian Irons down in the corner there.
Mr. Irons, hello.
It's definitely just chalk it up to all of these amazing pre-rendered backgrounds that they have. Like those things are gonna be pretty timeless and like shocking for the age of the game.
Yeah.
Like especially if you're like someone who is like entrenched in like these kind of retro titles in this era. It's like really cool like to look at like how cinematic everything feels, because they are able to manipulate the camera in ways that are available to them with the technology that they have. One of the worst things that I think of, and when I think of horror games, especially modern horror games, this is a horrible cardinal sin. It's that there are always scares that are happening, but I'm not like looking wherever they wanted me to be looking. Like something will be at the window and then run away, and I'll just be looking at a bookcase just because I can interact with 20 things on this bookcase. And I'm just messing with a book for no reason, and something's trying to scare me in the corner, and it's like,
hang on, I'm reading Harry Potter. Leave me alone.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, that kind of reminds me of one of my. I had a good moment with the 2 remake. When I first played it, I had a technical glitch with the game that was pretty amusing. You know, like when you're in the police station, you go down that one hallway that kind of like it's off to the side, and it goes down this separate hallway to get around to the backside of the
of the building.
Police station.
Yeah.
I went in that room, and the first time nothing happens, but then the second time you go through, like zombies are supposed to break through the window on you. So I go down the hallway and I get to the window, and the zombie's just standing on the other side of the window, and I'm like, what's supposed to happen here?
Would you like some fries with that? Like,
and then I just hear the PS4, like the disc like drive is going crazy over there. I'm like, oh, it's struggling. It's struggling right now. And then the game just stutters and the thing just bursts through the window. I'm like,
oh, hi, nice to see you. Hi.
I was like,
it's called subverting expectations.
I was like, that's not the jump scare I was expecting, but hey.
Oh, I can't believe we've gone so long without talking about Mr. X.
Yeah,
that's kind of my fault.
No,
so I could have brought him
fair.
up a million years ago. Mr. X comes in through comes busting through the walls on your B playthrough. It's both of them, right? I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's always B campaign. So I guess you never got. Well, you got to witness this on the remake,
Yes.
but Mr. X exists on the original copy of the game whenever you're playing, and that's how you're supposed to switch up everything as you're playing, because doors are getting locked and things are getting messed up. Like the helicopter crashes through that wall, you have to get out somehow, like a different way that Leon goes, or Claire, whoever you play first. And so Mr. X is kind of this guy who Kool-Aid mans through a wall at some point, which is one of the scariest things in the game as well. It's one of the most memorable jump scares. When he busts through a wall while you're doing the puzzle to get the shotgun, right? And then you run away from him, you leave through the room, and you're like, okay, I'm safe, he's in there. And then you start walking down the hallway and he busts through the wall again. And like it happens right after. And so it is so insane. And he's in between you and the door that's the exit. So it's like now you have to kite this guy in a hallway.
somehow.
Man, so
somehow.
good.
Mr. X is a really interesting character, mostly because like I think it's interesting which version of the game you play first. Because if you played the original first, and you're like, when I got to like remake, I'm like, all right, when is he gonna show up? And then he shows up, and he's literally this guy that just can be on you at any point, and you don't even know.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that if you play the remake first and then go back to the original,
Yeah, which is what I did.
you're gonna have your expectation for Mr. X is like, oh god, he's this terrifying thing, which he still is to a degree, but at the same time, that's like, oh, he's a lot less intimidating in the original. I will say the cutscene where he's introduced into the game is one of the most iconic in the series, though. Like just the capsule that just falls into the mansion, and you're just like, well, that ain't good. Like, I don't know what that is.
That's not normal.
I'm sure that'll work itself out over there.
I'm sure that's not going to be an important mechanic later.
Yeah. Well, that's not supposed to be there. I think I'll go the other way.
And especially in the remake, whenever I was playing the remake, I was like, oh, Mr. X is like here early. He's here early. All right. And we're going to I wonder when he's going to show up. And then essentially right after, he's like lifting up the helicopter. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm out of here. No way.
Oh, no.
Did you shoot his hat off?
Yeah, immediately. I was like, headshot, and his hat fell off. I was like, haha, sucks to be you. And then I took off running away.
Look, a distraction. Run.
Achievement unlocked. Knocked his hat off. It's like, cool. I did a thing.
Good for me. Yes. Thank God. Yeah. So, gents, before we wrap up, first off, thank you for coming on the show once again. But
no problem.
Bill, we'll start with you. Where can everyone find all your awesome stuff online?
So you can find the Gaming Collecting Podcast on pretty much all the major podcasting platforms. I have a link tree. It's Linktree / The Barber Who Games. And I have a second podcast I've recently launched called the 3DO Experience, where it's a retrospective look back at the Panasonic 3DO console and the company behind it.
It is a crazy look back at a crazy system. The most I know about the 3DO up until I listened to your first couple episodes is the ads in GamePro magazines growing up. That's pretty much it. So,
product of the year.
There you go. Nave, what about you, man? You got lots of cool stuff going on. What's happening?
I run Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast with my co-op partner Philip, and we are on a lot of the social medias. He runs Facebook, and I run Twitter, and we kind of go halvesies on Instagram, where we post a bunch of memes and videos and dumb conversations that we like to have off the air. And yeah.
Amazing. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on. Thank you for keeping up your good stuff on your end of things out there. Keep up the great work with your podcasts and your accounts. And everyone, thank you for listening. Thank everyone for watching, who watched us live. We did that for the first time. We recorded something live. Gentlemen, thank you for dealing with the technical hiccups to get things started.
No, thanks for having me.
Good, we caught it early.
Yeah. Thank you for being the guinea pigs. Thank you to both Nave and Bill for joining me on the show. Thank you everyone for listening. Of course, I'm going to mention once again, patreon.com/remember64show. You can get episodes early. You can get some pre-show chats every once in a while. And of course, you can hear us play things that are not on the N64, including games like Splatoon, which is something that Luigi's been playing quite a bit lately. You can always email us, remember64show@gmail.com, and find more videos, photos, and fun collecting shenanigans on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok. All of those at Remember64Show. And we had mentioned in the recording, we recorded this live on Twitch. We're going to try and do this more often as well. Also going to try and play more games as well. So find us at Twitch, Remember64Show. And as I mentioned off the top as well, rate us on your favorite podcast app. That is a huge, huge help for us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on this journey with us so far. Hopefully you enjoyed our talk about Resident Evil 2. Give Nave and Bill and their stuff a listen. It is fantastic. Until next time, stay pixelated, my friends.